I woke up to the sound of silence. Not the peaceful kind, the kind that makes your skin crawl because something's terribly wrong. That morning was like any other. I brewed my coffee, sat on the porch, and listened to the faint hum of my refrigerator in the kitchen. But at exactly 9:07 a.m., everything stopped. The fridge died. The fan shut off. My phone charger went dead. The power was gone. At first, I thought it was a random outage. I checked the neighborhood, but the street lights were on, and my neighbors' houses seemed perfectly fine. Panic crept up my spine. I immediately called the power company. After a 5-minute hold, they confirmed, "Your account is active. There are no reported outages in your area." That's when suspicion settled in. Someone had done this on purpose. As I stepped outside, I spotted Karen, our notorious HOA president, smugly watering her flowers 2 doors down. She's the kind of woman who thrives on control, writing citations for leaving your trash cans out 10 minutes late, measuring grass height with a ruler, and threatening fines over invisible violations. "Morning," she chirped, pretending not to notice the storm brewing on my face. I asked her point-blank if she knew anything about my power being cut. She smirked. "Well, some of us actually follow the HOA rules. Maybe you should review the handbook." That's when I remembered our argument from last week. She accused me of having unauthorized Christmas lights still on my porch in March. I'd refused to take them down out of pure principle. Could she really have gone this far? I stormed back into my house, trying to calm down, but the reality hit hard. No power meant no fridge, no security cameras, no internet. My entire life was shutting down. Hours passed. I lost half the food in my freezer. My phone battery was dying. The house was stiflingly hot. Then, around sunset, I heard it. Karen screaming from her own yard. I ran outside just in time to see her twisting her garden hose in frustration. No water. She rushed inside and came out seconds later, phone in hand, shrieking about her gas stove not lighting either. That's when it clicked. By cutting off my power, Karen had accidentally disabled the control systems for the entire building's water and gas supply. And it was only the beginning. Karen stood in her yard like a woman possessed, shaking her phone at the sky as if it would magically restore her water and gas. I watched from my porch, equal parts furious and fascinated. "Does anyone else not have water?" she shrieked, her voice echoing down the street. One by one, neighbors emerged from their houses, their expressions shifting from confusion to frustration. Mr. and Mrs. Lopez, who lived across the street, tried their taps, bone dry. The Johnsons, with 2 toddlers in diapers, were suddenly dealing with a house full of crying kids and no running water. In less than 10 minutes, a small crowd had formed in Karen's driveway. People were demanding answers, and she was sweating bullets. "I don't know what's happening," she stammered. "It must be a city issue." But her excuse crumbled fast. Mr. Lopez whipped out his phone and showed everyone the city's outage map. "There are no reported disruptions. This is just us." Karen's eyes darted to me. She knew I knew. I stepped forward, my voice calm but cutting. "Funny, my power went out this morning. Then your water and gas mysteriously stopped. Almost like someone tampered with the systems." Her face turned the color of a ripe tomato. "That's ridiculous. I would never." But she didn't get to finish. Mrs. Johnson interrupted, holding her crying toddler on her hip. "Karen, if you did something, you better fix it now. I can't even heat up milk for my baby." The anger was building like a tidal wave. Karen, who'd spent years enforcing absurd HOA rules and handing out fines, was now the target. And then came the kicker. Mr. Lopez's teenage son, Jason, pulled up security footage from the HOA's communal camera system. He projected it on his phone for everyone to see. Karen, earlier that morning, fiddling with the locked utility box behind the complex. The crowd gasped. Karen tried to snatch the phone, but Jason pulled it back. "You shut everything off," he yelled. Karen's voice cracked. "I was only trying to turn off his power." She pointed at me like I was the villain. The mob erupted. "You what? Do you even know how dangerous that is? My fridge is full of groceries. My kid needs his medication refrigerated." Karen backed toward her house, trembling. "I'll fix it. Just give me a minute." But the problem was bigger than she realized. The utility box was sealed with tamper-proof locks. Karen had forced it open with a screwdriver, and now the entire system was compromised. The city utility company was already on their way. Karen's hands trembled as she stood on her porch, the angry neighbors closing in. She kept mumbling, "I'll fix it. I'll fix it." But it was too late for that. Bright flashing lights filled the street as a city utility truck pulled up. Two inspectors in navy blue uniforms stepped out, carrying heavy toolkits. One of them, a tall man with sharp eyes, approached the group. "Who's responsible for the utility box being tampered with?" he asked flatly. All eyes turned to Karen. I didn't mean to," she blurted. "I was just trying to enforce an HOA rule." The inspector cut her off. "You broke into a locked city-owned utility system." Karen's voice shrank to a whisper. "I only turned off the power to one house. I couldn't help but step forward. And in the process, you disabled water and gas for the entire building. We've been without power all day because of her." The inspector's jaw tightened. He turned to his partner. "Call the supervisor. This is going to be a full investigation." Karen's face drained of color. "Wait, you don't have to call anyone. I'll pay the fine. Whatever it is, I'll pay it." The inspector gave a humorless laugh. "This isn't about a fine. You compromised a critical system. Do you know how dangerous it is to cut off gas lines? You could have caused an explosion." The crowd behind me fell silent. Even I felt a chill. The second inspector opened the utility box with a master key, shaking his head at the mess Karen had made. Wires had been yanked out, the gas valve forced closed with pliers. He muttered something under his breath about serious violations, before pulling out his phone to document everything. Karen started to cry, big gulping sobs that no one felt sorry for. "Please, I didn't know," she begged. But the inspector was unmoved. "Ma'am, you'll need to come with us to answer some questions. We'll be turning this over to the city's legal department." He added coldly, "Criminal charges are on the table." A collective gasp swept through the crowd. Mrs. Johnson clutched her baby tighter. Mr. Lopez crossed his arms, nodding in grim satisfaction. Karen's knees buckled. "Criminal charges?" The inspector nodded. "You tampered with a public utility. That's a felony." Karen's perfect little HOA world was collapsing around her. And for once, she had no rulebook to hide behind. But what none of us knew was that things were about to get even worse, because the inspectors had discovered something Karen hadn't intended at all, something that would drag the entire HOA into the mess. The inspectors worked in silence for over an hour, rewiring, resetting valves, and documenting every inch of the damaged utility box. By the time the power, water, and gas finally came back on, the entire neighborhood had gathered on the street. Karen stood off to the side, pale and trembling. She kept glancing at the inspectors like a prisoner waiting for her sentence. Then one of them turned around, holding up a thick stack of papers they'd found inside the utility box's side compartment. "We need to talk to the HOA board," he said sharply. Karen blinked. "Why?" "This isn't just about you," the inspector interrupted. "This utility box has been tampered with before, multiple times. And we just found detailed logs and unauthorized maintenance requests with the HOA's letterhead on them." The crowd erupted in shocked murmurs. Wait, the HOA's been doing this, someone whispered. The inspector nodded grimly. It looks like your HOA has been bypassing the city's maintenance procedures for years. There are notes about shutting off utilities to enforce compliance on homeowners, threatening people into paying fines. This is organized misuse of city property. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish. I didn't know about that. I was just trying to, but her words were drowned out by angry shouts. You've been cutting people's power on purpose? All those unexplained outages, was that you? I lost hundreds of dollars in spoiled food last year. Karen's HOA allies, if she even had any left, were nowhere to be found. The inspector radioed for law enforcement backup, and within minutes, 2 police cars arrived. Karen's voice cracked as the officers approached. Please, I was just doing my job as HOA president. The lead officer shook his head. Ma'am, your job doesn't include tampering with public utilities or endangering lives. You're under arrest for felony interference with municipal infrastructure, among other charges. The cuffs clicked around Karen's wrists as the neighbors looked on in stunned silence. As she was led to the patrol car, she caught my eye. There was no smugness left, just hollow fear. This is all your fault, she hissed. I didn't even flinch. No, Karen, you did this to yourself. The car door shut with a heavy thud, and the crowd slowly dispersed, murmuring about lawsuits, resignations, and how they'd dismantle the HOA completely. That night, as I sat in my now fully powered home, I felt a strange calm wash over me. Karen's reign of terror was finally over. But her downfall had revealed something much bigger, an HOA willing to break the law to control its residents. And now, we were all ready to fight back. If you enjoyed watching Karen's plan completely backfire, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another story like this. And hey, don't forget to smash the like button if you think she got exactly what she deserved. I'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what would you have done if your HOA president tried to cut your power? I'll be reading and replying to as many comments as I can.